This is the chassis to hold the LattePanda on the pole. And you can see that there's a shelf here to hold the LattePanda with the 4 mounting holes. And on the back, you can see down here is where the shaft goes of the pole. And there's a mounting tab at the top here to hold the screen that's going to show what the LattePanda is trying to display. This is the lid of the chassis for the LattePanda. And we can just rotate it to see how it fits. It's got a little bit of a lip to cover up the other part of the chassis. And we'll see how that goes together when we show the real thing in action. This is the chassis that's going to hold the LCD display for the LattePanda. So we can see, oops, in the front here is a slot for the display itself, and in the back is where the driver card is going to be mounted. You can see right here there's a slot for the card to slide into. This slot in the back is for the mounting tab from the LattePanda chassis. And you can see that the slot for the card actually allows the card to slide under that mounting tab. Now there's a little tricky slot right in here, which allows the cable from the display to reach the driver card. And we can see that on the front, sort of. If I zoom in here, you can see down in the bottom of this frame at the front, there's a little channel for the connector to go through at the back. Now this shelf at the bottom, right here, gets removed. That's just there so we can print this without this whole thing falling over. And that may look a little complicated, but we'll see how it works when we actually put it together. Okay, we're just putting together the LattePanda part of the Waterproof Connectors Design Challenge. The LattePanda is in this 3D printed case with the 4 mounting screws which are threaded into the case. And there's a slot in the bottom here that fits on the pole. And there's a tab at the top to hold the display. The lid just goes on with a fairly tight friction fit, like that. And you can see that there's a nice channel to have airflow through here, which allows us to keep the plastic cool, because this is just 3D printed and the LattePanda generates a bit of heat. Now I have a metal case on order, but it is not appearing to show up in time for this challenge, so I had to 3D print a case. Here we have access to the USB ports and the HDMI connector, and I have a USB memory stick in there now to capture all the video. At this end we have the Ethernet connector, an audio jack, micro SD card, and USB port for power. Of course there's a Wi-Fi antenna hanging out here as well. And the display has this nice 3D printed frame, and it just slides into the slots from the top. And the cable from the display comes through a little channel at the bottom here, which is not visible from the front. And then we have this driver card, the display driver card, in its own little slot here on the back. And it has the HDMI connector plus its own little power connector for USB. And this slot here meets up with the LattePanda. So we have a display on top of the LattePanda. Room for the cables, which I don't have. I have to go and get a mini HDMI cable that meets with a standard HDMI. And this just plugs into the pole like this. So now we have a complete system at the top of the pole with a display and a computer. And we'll just connect that up to the camera head, which is inside a Hammond box. So we've got a USB connector feeding the camera at the top. And we have to mount all the other waterproof connectors and then dunk this in the water. So that's going to be the next episode, hopefully. And that's what we've got so far. The camera system at the top of the pole is all set up to go.